This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It's Wednesday, July 1st, and right now on Good Morning Indiana.
I think it's going to make the roads safer for everyone. And everyone needs to take responsibility to change their behavior and keep that phone out of their hands.
Several new laws go on the books in Indiana today, including a hands-free driving law. Working for you, we're breaking down how these changes will impact your daily life.
How long are we going to protest? You have to change the system from within the system.
Protests for racial justice and police reform have been front and center over the last several weeks, but some say these demonstrations can only go so far. This morning, we talked to one local group who says change begins at the ballot box, and we're looking at what they're doing to increase access to voting.
So we were kind of surprised that, where did this come from? Like, out of nowhere.
Patients and employees are being left in limbo as Community Health Network announces the closure of 2 Kokomo facilities despite receiving hundreds of millions of dollars in federal stimulus money. Call 6 Investigates is looking into why this is happening and what's next for those affected. And it is Wednesday. Thanks for joining our team here on Good Morning Indiana. Raphael, I cannot believe it is July 1st. I feel like we've been in March for forever, ever since the shutdown.
What happened?
I know.
What happened? Listen, if I wasn't working from my home here in the living room right now, I would probably be out on my favorite trail or maybe on my bicycle or doing something fun, because based on Todd's numbers, this is the best time to be outside before it warms up, Todd.
You're exactly right, Raphael. If you can get that workout in here this morning with temperatures in the 60s and 70s and the sun just coming up, you're in great shape compared to the peak heat of the day, with highs eventually today right around 90 degrees. Kind of a pretty shot here from downtown to the north on the WRTV 6 Weather Now camera network. You see this little tiny layer of fog that's in place closer to the ground, which that's what fog is, a cloud on the ground. But look how thin it is, all the blue sky here. So the sun will burn that layer of fog off very, very quickly here this morning, and then we'll be left with lots of sunshine to start off your Wednesday. 60s and 70s, still muggy out there though this morning, and that really doesn't change throughout the day. Today there's a little more in the way of sunshine from Indy to the east compared to some cloud cover off to the west. But as far as any storms go, it's quiet this morning. Just a small chance of an isolated storm building in later on this afternoon. Notice the warming though, really quick. 84 degrees by the noon hour with high temperatures later on this afternoon. Lauren topping off right around 90 degrees.
All right, Todd, thank you. And you mentioned some fog out there this morning for the commute, and here's a look at it. This is I-65 near State Road 267 to our northwest. You remember earlier in the show, we showed you a foggy look on the southeast side of town, so it could be in several different areas, so just keep that in mind as you're heading out the door this morning. Use the low beam headlights and leave plenty of space between you and the vehicle in front of you. At 6:03 today, new laws that were passed in the most recent legislative session will go into effect.
And Lauren, this morning, our Kelsey Anderson joins us with what you need to know on this July the 1st. Kelsey, good morning.
Well, some of those new laws going into effect today include things on panhandling, abortion, tobacco, and using a handheld device while driving. The federal age to buy tobacco products was raised from 18 to 21 at the end of 2019. So what changes today? A new law now doubles many penalties retailers will face if they sell tobacco products to somebody under the age of 21. And starting today, a woman who undergoes an abortion will have the right to bring the fetal remains to a healthcare facility for disposal. It isn't required, but they will now have that option. And lastly, get used to not holding your phones while driving. You can still use it, but it must be out of your hands. That means it either has to be on speakerphone or on Bluetooth. Violators will be subject to a fine, but will not lose points on their license for the first year while the law is phased in. For everything you need to know about laws going into effect today, July 1st, head over to theindychannel.com. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV 6.
Kelsey, thank you so much. Panhandling laws were also set to get stricter today, but yesterday a federal judge blocked the bill from going into effect, saying that it was unconstitutional. That law would have made it illegal to panhandle within 50 feet of a parking meter, a parking garage, ATM, restaurant entrances or exits, and public monuments. The new law will not go into effect as planned today, but the arguments will continue in court until a permanent decision is made.
Also happening today, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles will resume charging late fees. And here's what you need to know. Anyone with an expired driver's license, permit, state identification card, or vehicle registration will be charged a late fee until they complete the renewal transactions. Again, you need to do that by today.
Now to our Democracy 2020. The countdown is on. There are 18 weeks until the November election. Efforts are already underway to make sure that you have the access to a safe way to vote this November. Alyssa Donovan joins us live this morning. And Alyssa, there's one group working to ensure that people eligible to vote in our state get that chance. Fill us in this morning.
That's right, Raphael. We spoke to a group of people who's working to inform those who have formerly been incarcerated about their right to vote. This group, called Project Leah, is talking about the importance of voting, and that importance has been at the forefront of recent protests for racial justice. Many sharing the message that the only way to change the system is by voting, which is why Project Leah, which works with women who have been formerly incarcerated, is trying to share that message after two people who have been released from incarceration. Hoosiers who have been released from incarceration can once again vote in elections.
The people who really have the power to better our lives, to change the justice system, it's all in the power to vote.
And the ACLU of Indiana is also fighting against low voter turnout with their Yes, You Can Vote campaign, reaching out to people who have been incarcerated. Now, voting rights for felons vary from state to state, but Indiana is one of 15 states where people can vote if they have been incarcerated. Those voting rights are reinstated as soon as you've served your sentence. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
The time now is 6:07 here on Good Morning Indiana and WRTV and our partners at Radio 1. We are teaming up to have a very critical discussion on the issues of racism and racial inequality. Our program, A Conversation on Race, Connecting Central Indiana, will feature a variety of panelists from our community. You can submit a question by going to our website, theindychannel.com. You can then watch the virtual town hall at 7 p.m. tomorrow, July the 2nd, right here on RTV6 and on all of our digital platforms. It will also be simulcast on 3 Radio 1 stations.
It is 6:08 now to the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak here in the state. The Indiana State Department of Health is reporting 16 new deaths and 385 new cases across the state. That is 11 more deaths than were reported on Monday. Some of the deaths reported Tuesday date back to the middle of May. More than 45,000 cases have been confirmed since the pandemic began. 484,000 Hoosiers have been tested so far. Just over 9% of those tests have come back positive.
Today, the mayor of Indianapolis is set to announce a new program aimed at helping the economy bounce back from this pandemic. The program is called Economic Restart. It will encourage residents to support and to explore local restaurants, museums, cultural institutions, and much more. City and community leaders will share details at 1 this afternoon. Look for updates on air and our website, theindychannel.com. Also today, Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb expected to announce whether the state will move on to stage 5 of his Back on Track reopening plan. Yesterday, the governor signed an executive order extending the block on evictions, foreclosures, and the disconnection of utility services. The block on evictions and foreclosures now goes through July the 31st, and disconnections on all utilities regulated by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission will be halted until August the 14th.
Well, this morning, Victory Field sits dark and the stands are empty, and they say it's going to stay that way. Indianapolis Indians announcing they're among 100 other minor leagues that will not have a season this year. After contentious negotiations, Major League Baseball agreed on a 60-game season that will start later this summer, but a deal could not be made with the minors. Indians general manager Randy Lewandowski says that this is a tough blow for players and coaches.
They're going to miss out on 2020. And they miss a year of their career. Their careers are only so long, and we feel really bad for those guys that aren't on the taxi squad, that aren't going to be in big league camp. And there's a substantial amount of them that were with us last year and were projected to be with us this year too.
Well, alternative events are planned for Victory Field, including a blood drive, ice cream social, and college summer league games, that is. Community Health Network is closing down 2 Kokomo facilities despite receiving hundreds of millions of dollars in federal stimulus money. Call 6 Investigates looks into why this is happening and what's next for those affected. Todd.
And Lauren, we've been dealing with these daily chances of storms across central Indiana, and they're in the forecast once again today, but they're getting less and less numerous. And as we progress throughout the course of this week, the rain chances will decrease. But as we head into the weekend, the temperatures, believe it or not, they increase. We'll talk all about it coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV 6.
And find the Jaguar that's perfect for you.
Welcome back. Hundreds of employees and patients are being left in limbo as Community Health Network announces it will close 2 Kokomo facilities, an outpatient rehab clinic and a specialty hospital.
And Lauren, Call 6 Investigates has uncovered the closures are happening despite the healthcare system receiving hundreds of millions of dollars in federal stimulus money. The rebound is our commitment to making sure the systems in place help Hoosier businesses. Our Kara Kenny joins us now with why patients are confused and concerned.
Good job! So big! William Hartman's 16-month-old daughter Kinsley is getting help standing and walking at Replay, an outpatient rehab clinic that's been in Kokomo for 30 years.
She has come a long way.
William just learned Community is closing Replay as of August 30th, as well as Community Howard Specialty Hospital, which offers both inpatient rehab and outpatient therapy.
So we were kind of surprised that, where did this come from? Out of nowhere.
At least 120 workers will be impacted by the closures, and hundreds of patients like Kinsley and Julie Howard. She's used Replay for years for shoulder, back, and neck problems.
I was shocked, upset, angry, confused, a lot of different emotions. Why is this facility going to close? It's busy.
Both say COVID-19 prompted Replay to only open on Mondays and Fridays.
Only 2 days a week were open. We had to wear a mask.
Community Health Network's decision to close doesn't mention COVID. It says they made the call after a thorough evaluation of the needs of this community, the changing landscape of healthcare, and how to best align Community Howard Regional Health Services to sustainably meet those needs both now and in the future. The closures come as the Federal CARES Act and other programs provided $175 billion in relief funds to hospitals and other healthcare providers on the front lines of the coronavirus response. Call 6 Investigates found Community Health Network received $85 million in grants and $133 million in federal loans, among the highest recipients of Indiana companies.
That just doesn't seem right. It just is very frustrating.
From what I thought, the federal stimulus money was to prevent employee loss.
Community Health Network hasn't responded to our questions about how they spent the stimulus money, but they did say the CARES Act funds can only be used for COVID-specific needs. The Department of Health and Human Services has strict guidelines in that regard. So we did some checking and found healthcare providers do not have to spend stimulus dollars on treating the virus. The grants can also be used to offset COVID-related revenue losses caused by things like fewer outpatient visits. And the money can be used to cover payroll, rent, mortgage, and other expenses to keep a provider's doors open. We asked healthcare expert and law professor Seema Mohapatra to review the federal guidelines as well.
This money was really supposed to help support the industry at a time of emergency. So any lost revenues that are at all related to COVID. And so that could be the fact that you're not seeing as many patients, that you're not actually being able to do elective procedures, you're not able to have outpatient procedures.
Mohapatra says healthcare systems look at a variety of factors when deciding whether to close facilities.
It could be just a strategy of the system and what they've decided to. And as a private entity, they're able to do any of that.
Replay's patients are heartbroken.
Other kids with disabilities are going to be impacted. I cannot tell you how well of a ran facility this is and how well they treat you.
They'll have to get care somewhere else while employees are left in limbo. They wonder if millions of stimulus dollars could have saved these facilities.
And I really feel that there has to be a way, if they dig deep, that they can save one or both of these facilities.
Kara Kenny, RTV 6.
Kara Kenny on the job. 121 people will be laid off from the facilities, according to the documents released this week. 85 at the specialty hospital and 36 workers at Replay Clinic. Community Health Network tells RTV6 that current patients at both facilities will continue to receive the same level of high-quality, compassionate care. You can read their full statement in this story on the RTV6 app as well on our website. We also reached out to U.S. Congressman Jim Baird, who told us, in part, our office continues to monitor that the use of taxpayer funds are used accordingly to the CARES Act. If adjustments to the rules and guidelines are needed, our office will work with the administration to provide the necessary flexibility.
All right, thank you there, Kara and Raphael. As you walk out the door here this morning, you are walking out to nice and quiet conditions. It's still muggy and it's still warm, but we have some sunshine. We also have a little thin layer of fog that is out there this morning, which is impacting visibilities in some locations. It's not a widespread issue, but the visibilities have been fluctuating a little bit. We have this little pocket here of very dense fog up towards the Sheridan area, then extends back into portions of Boone County, and then in Lafayette, your visibility down is below 1 mile. So especially along Interstate 65, just know your visibility is going to be reduced. And then also along I-74 as you work your way down towards the Shelbyville and the Greensburg area, and even over into the Cincinnati area if the travels take you that far. 68 right now in Greencastle, as well as Martinsville. 71 in Indianapolis, as well as Connorsville. It's 67 as you make your way up into the Tipton area. Lots of sunshine this morning. We'll see these temperatures warm very, very quickly, already into the mid-80s by the noon hour. High temperatures today eventually will be getting up close to 90 degrees, with just a little more in the way of cloud cover this afternoon compared to this evening. As far as rain chances go, they're pretty small today, but they will be present this afternoon during the peak heating of the day. It only gets up to about a 20 to 30% chance of an isolated storm across the area, and that is just about it. And I'll show you TrueCast in just a second. A little more in the way of cloud cover to the west. What we will not see is any organized storm activity like what you see here off to our west. That will not be impacting us here in central Indiana. We're just going to be dealing with these isolated downpours that'll be flaring up here and there across the area this afternoon, but you notice how speckled they are across the map. It's not a great chance for rain, but nonetheless, if you do go out for your walk or maybe a bike ride later on this evening, it's not a bad idea to fire up some sort of radar on your phone. Storm Shield is a great app. That's the one I use all the time to track the showers moving through the area. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, dry. Great news for the holiday weekend. Sunday, it's only about a 20% chance of an isolated storm. I really wouldn't worry about that if you do have outdoor plans. The bigger issue will be the heat, because highs tomorrow will be near 90 degrees as we look ahead to the 4th of July weekend. Friday, Saturday, dry, 92 degrees. 93 on Sunday with the chance of that spot storm, but any fireworks displays that are still going on across central Indiana should be just fine on Saturday night. Temperatures will stay in the 90s as we get into Monday and Tuesday as we enter a very, very hot stretch of weather here, Lauren, in the coming days.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic. This is US 31, a little north of 131st Street, Hamilton County. Traffic in your area looks like it's traveling up to speed. A little bit of fog you can see there, especially off in the distance. So again, keep that in mind as you're heading out on the roads this morning. Raphael?
So NASA, Lauren, is working on a device meant to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Up next, how you can get your hands on one of these devices.
And the new Cheetah Chase water coaster is now launching at Holiday World and Splash and Safari, and you can be one of the first to ride it thanks to Good Morning Indiana. This morning is your chance to win a pair of ticket vouchers to the parks. All you have to do is be the 6th caller right now. The number is on your screen, 317-269-1459. Good luck, and if you don't win today, just keep trying. We're giving away more tickets tomorrow. The time right now is 6:22. We'll be right back.
Apply online today.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 6:25. Raphael, it is time to talk about what is trending at 6. So you know when someone tells you don't touch your face. You instantly get like an itch or something on your face, right?
Yeah, especially these days. Don't touch your face. Keep that face mask on.
I know, right? So you probably remember yesterday we told you about a teen in the UK working on that watch that'll help you stop touching your face. It's all about the coronavirus. Well, now NASA is working on something really similar to that. You can see it here. The space agency creating a wearable device. It's called Pulse. When a person's hands come close to their face, the pulse vibrates. Well, NASA isn't selling the pulses, but anyone who's interested in creating one, all you need is a 3D printer, wire, and some other materials. More info can be found on NASA's website. There you go.
I'll take all the help that's out there.
I know.
That's awesome. Wow. Hey, this morning, a major shout out to Metro Police Officer Jared Allen. Officer Allen is our hometown hero today here on RTV6. The 3-year veteran of IMPD is worthy of praise for his recent efforts to help rescue teens from a vehicle that was in the water. Congratulations to him and to all the officers in Indiana. Now time to check your forecast with our one and only TK.
Yeah, Raphael, it's going to be a hot stretch of weather here across central Indiana as we go through the coming days. While the temperatures come up, the humidity levels will come down a little bit, but it's still going to be very, very muggy for us. As you notice, temperatures will be in the 80s for Wednesday and Thursday, so today and tomorrow, and then into the 90s for a pretty prolonged stretch of weather for us. So it's going to be hot with the chance of a stray storm in the forecast. As far as getting you out the door this morning, this is what you're looking at. You have plenty of sunshine out there, a little bit of patchy fog in spots with temperatures that are currently sitting right around 70 degrees, but we'll warm pretty quickly here throughout the course of the day today. 77 by the time we get to the 10 a.m. hour. We should be into the mid-80s by the time we get to the noon hour. Then high temperatures today will be topping off right around 90 degrees with just the chance of a stray thunderstorm popping up later on this afternoon. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thank you. Well, the daily COVID numbers are getting worrisome in some areas. So as businesses reopen, which are the safest to visit and which are the most risky? Consumer reporter John Matarese has the latest cautions from the CDC so you don't waste your money.
With COVID-19 surging again in some areas, many people are reconsidering their outside activities. So we have a list from the experts of the most and least risky things that you can do. You've probably seen the pictures of busy beaches and packed bars, but only one of them is high risk for COVID, according to the CDC. The Centers for Disease Control says the following are low-risk activities: outdoor walking or running, outdoor dining, as long as you're 6 feet from other tables, sitting on beaches, and swimming in pools. Listed as medium risk: getting a haircut, but both customer and stylist must wear masks, working out in a gym, staying in a hotel, flying, as long as everyone wears a mask, and visiting elderly parents. But from the Doesn't That Stink file, the high-risk activities that can spread the virus quickly. The CDC warns against large gatherings anywhere, indoor parties, and bars and nightclubs where patrons are close together, especially without masks, which gets back to our first question. It's bars, not beaches, that are high risk. Bottom line, if you avoid close contact with other people, you boost your chances of staying safe and you don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese. Good morning, Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now on Good Morning Indiana on this Wednesday morning, here is your 6:30 news feed. A church pastor in Carmel being criticized for referring to Black Lives Matter protesters as maggots and parasites. Reverend Theodore Rothrock made the comments on the website of St. Elizabeth Seton Catholic Church in Carmel. The priest later issued a clarification saying he did not mean to offend anyone. You can read his full statement at theindychannel.com.
Dozens of people came together to honor a 16-year-old Franklin Central High School student. Ella Major died in a crash over the weekend. Friends and family met at the scene of the crash on Fry Road near Shelbyville Road on the southeast side. Investigators say the car Major was riding in went off the road, crashed into a tree, and then went into a retention pond.
As thousands of people in Indiana remain out of work during the pandemic, Amazon will soon be hiring Hoosiers in Johnson County. Amazon says it's bringing another fulfillment center to Whiteland. The company has not said how many jobs the new facility will create. This will be located at the Whiteland Exchange Business Park near I-65 and Whiteland Road. We are on the road this morning here on Good Morning Indiana to a new month. We are loaded with water bottles and the air conditioner is definitely on today.
That is right, Raphael. And below me, you can see a beautiful sunrise coming up over central Indiana. Yeah. Todd, we know there's some fog out there this morning, but what can people expect as they're waking up?
You know, lots of sunshine. That's the good news. That sunrise you pointed out, Lauren, that's looking off to the east. I'll give you a different view to the north. And this one obviously shows the sky starting to brighten, but this one also shows you a little better view of the patchy fog that is out there. It's this thin little layer, and most of the patchy fog is to the north of Indianapolis, up into portions of Hamilton County, then into the Lafayette area. But that should burn off pretty quickly now that the sun continues to get higher above the horizon. Temperatures this morning are sitting in the 60s and 70s. It's a warm and muggy start to our day. 68 right now is the current temperature in Martinsville, 67 in Tipton, Muncie to Richmond, hovering right around that 68-degree mark as well. So while we have sunshine this morning, we'll build in the partly cloudy skies this afternoon, just like we've done over the past couple days, and there could be a stray shower or two that pops up this afternoon, but for the most part, skies will be partly cloudy. It's a sun-filled day. It's another hot day with high temperatures anywhere from 86 to 90 degrees. We'll talk more about the storm chances and that holiday weekend forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren.
Todd, thank you. Here's a look right now at your commute. This is I-70, a little west of High School Road. You can see traffic in that area is traveling up to speed this morning. No crashes or delays to slow you down around the metro area. Just keep in mind, if you're traveling on I-70 on the west side, we do have those lanes closed westbound between the South Split downtown all the way over towards Ronald Reagan Parkway there, and I-465 on the west side. Collector ramps do remain open, so you can take those to navigate around the closure while utilizing 465. That closure is expected to wrap up at the end of this month. It is 6:32. New this morning, the family of Drajon Reed is calling again for a federal investigation into that deadly police shooting. The family says they've been informed by the special prosecutor that police investigators will be returning to the scene today with metal detectors. The family says they were also asked to remove a memorial honoring Reed from the site. The 21-year-old was killed near 62nd and Michigan Road on May 6th after leading police on a vehicle and foot chase. It was all seen on Facebook Live. Reed's legal team says that his hands were full and he was unable to shoot at police. Metro Police say there was an exchange of gunfire and that the gun found by Reed's body matched a weapon seen during his Facebook Live stream. Raphael.
The time now is 6:33. For the past few weeks, we have seen a number of demonstrations here in central Indiana. All of those demonstrations demanding better, and that has had a ripple effect. For those of us who cover the news every single day, we're always looking for the best ways to provide information. Starting today, WRTV will be doing a better job of identifying people accused of crimes.
We gotta take action. We gotta come together.
Protests demanding police reforms, racial justice, and economic equity have been peaceful. On occasion, there was tear gas and vandalism. This challenged news organizations like WRTV on how to cover the multiple arrests during the demonstrations and beyond.
We really have to balance, giving the public the information that they need with the potential harm that can be caused to the people who are affected by our coverage.
For years, WRTV, like many media outlets, has showed on television the mugshots provided by law enforcement after criminal arrests. But that practice in the age of social media, where information lives on forever, has led to unintended consequences, especially in cases where criminal charges could be dropped weeks or months later, impacting everything from someone being able to get a job to attending a child's field trip.
When somebody comes to us via email, phone calls, letters, and it always starts with, if you Google my name. And that's powerful. We get that. And particularly if we've only done that initial story and we have not followed that story to have that full update, it really made us, rethink, and it was worth consideration.
In 2018, WRTV decided it would only use the mugshots of people arrested who were criminally charged by a county prosecutor. But that was challenged in recent weeks. The recent protests and arrests from chaotic nights raised questions about the policy. In line with our policy, WRTV posted the mugshots on TV and online of the people, both black and white, male and female, who were criminally charged during the protests by the county prosecutor. But a key question yet again emerged. Would WRTV be following each and every case through the end of the process?
I can have 20 reasons to why we did it right and why we did the right thing. But at the end of the day, if what we're doing is contributing to a false narrative, then my 20 right reasons don't matter. They don't matter. And so being able to take a look at how we can still consistently, ethically, factually, journalistically report the news of the day, but not add in or add to racial stereotypes or false narratives, that's important for us to do.
WRTV has now decided to only use mugshots on a case-by-case situation. Discussions will determine, why is the mugshot necessary? What is the benefit of showing it? And is it a case we will follow through its resolution?
It's not censorship. All of this information that people want to know is public record. And so they can find it if they are interested in it and they want to find it. But we as journalists have a greater responsibility because we have such a large megaphone. So we need to be thinking about, what is the value of this news story? And I think that's really where all of our decisions have to come from.
And so we're doing our best to adjust our policies to make sure that we're not part of the problem as we continue to use our megaphone to lead people to the solution.
A moment in time when fairness and flexibility firmly meet the demands of a dynamic city confronting robust concerns. And we should point out that this policy extends to all of our social media and digital platforms here on RTV6. You can find more on this story right now on the IndyChannel.com. The time now is 6:37 as we continue to cover Democracy 2020. A lot of groups are encouraging many people, Lauren, to, of course, register to vote as well as to know their rights before they get to the ballot box.
That's right. And so one group specifically working to remind Hoosiers who have previously spent time in prison that they do have the right to vote. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live with what they have to say. And Alyssa, it's a misconception that those who have been incarcerated can't vote.
That's right, Lauren. And the group Project Leah is working to explain to people who have been incarcerated that they do have the right to vote. They're trying to put that information out there so that voters can get to the ballots or get their ballots in when they need to. And the laws vary from state to state, but Indiana is one of 15 states where felons can vote after they've been released. Now, with protests calling for change happening across the country, many are sharing the message of the importance of voting. The ACLU reports they received phone calls after every election from people who were formerly incarcerated and did not know they were allowed to cast their ballot. While Hoosiers cannot vote while incarcerated, their right is reestablished when they complete their sentence. More than 10,000 people were released from incarceration in Indiana in 2019. Representatives from Project Leah say they want to help inform those released of their rights.
I was incarcerated for 5.5 years. And during that time that no individual ever came in and said, hey, your voting rights can be reestablished, upon your release from prison.
The ACLU of Indiana is also fighting against low voter turnout with their Yes You Can Vote campaign, reaching out to people who have been incarcerated. And the ACLU recommends that if you've recently been released from jail or prison, that you check your voter registration status and re-register if necessary. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. And a reminder that RTV6 and our partners at Radio 1 are joining the conversation about racism and racial inequality. A conversation on race connecting Central Indiana will feature a variety of panelists from the community. You can submit a question by going to our website, theindychannel.com. You can watch the virtual town hall at 7 p.m. tomorrow, July 2nd. That's right here on RTV6 and on our digital platforms. It will also be simulcast on 3 Radio 1 stations.
So you weren't supposed to be texting and driving already, but If you do it today, yeah, you'll be in big trouble if you're caught. Up next, we dive into what that and all the new laws taking effect in Indiana will mean for you on this Wednesday. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
And that's instant. Get Orajel.
Welcome back. When you get in the car this morning, today is the day you need to put down your phone. You should do that anyways, but this is one of the several new state laws passed by the legislature early this year that are taking effect today.
It is going to be a big change, Lauren. Our Kelsey Anderson, she joins us this morning with what you need to know on this July the 1st. Kelsey, good morning.
The laws going to effect this morning are fairly small compared to years past, and that's because the 2020 legislative session was fairly short. At the end of last year, the federal age to buy tobacco products was raised from 18 to 21. And starting today, a new law now doubles many penalties retailers will face if they sell tobacco products to somebody under 21. And along the lines of abortion, a woman who undergoes an abortion will have the right to bring the fetal remains to a healthcare facility for disposal. Now, that isn't required, but they do now have that option. And lastly, you want to get used to not holding your phone while driving. You can still use it, but it must be out of your hands. That means starting today, it either has to be on speakerphone or on Bluetooth. Violators will be subject to a fine, but will not lose points on their license for the first year while the law is phased in. For everything you need to know about laws going into effect today, July 1st, head over to theindychannel.com. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Now, panhandling laws were supposed to get stricter today, but on Tuesday, a federal judge blocked the new law from taking effect, saying it was unconstitutional. The law would have made it illegal to panhandle within 50 feet of a parking meter, parking garage, ATM, restaurant entrance or exit, and also public monuments. But the ACLU of Indiana says the law was so strict it would have prevented them from their annual Constitution Day tradition of handing out copies of the Constitution on Monument Circle and soliciting donations. The federal judge will hold a full hearing on that law later.
So, Lauren, the new school year will look so much different. Next, we'll show you what schools are doing as they prepare to welcome students back in this era of COVID-19. But first, let's check your forecast with Todd Clausen.
And as you walk out the door here this morning, you're walking out once again to a very warm and muggy morning all across central Indiana. Our temperatures warm very quickly this morning from the 60s through the 70s into the 80s already by 10 a.m. We're on our way up close to 90 degrees this afternoon with small rain chances. We'll talk about the rain threat not only for today but for the holiday weekend coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:45. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.
Only at Value City Furniture.
The time right now is 6:47 here on your July 1st, and this is a live look at traffic at I-465 and West 46th Street up on the northwest side. You can see traffic is picking up both northbound and southbound. No crashes or delays around the metro area to slow down your commute.
So, Lauren, we all know that today is July the 1st, but a new school year is already around the corner. Many school districts are planning to start classes by the end of this month already. And because of the pandemic, we can expect many changes and makeovers to area classrooms.
I'm sure, Raphael, a lot of students and teachers ready to get back there. And we know some schools here have released plans while others are still at the drawing board. Some changes include making sure that students wear a mask during the school day. It can also include reserving and limiting spots on school buses, rotating playground zones, increased disinfecting, and not allowing school visitors. Takaya Lewis runs BK Interventions, an educational consulting firm. She's also a parent, so she says she sees both sides of the debate.
In reality, I am a parent first, and I have to do what's in the best interest of my child, and that's the same advice that I employ others take as well. You know your child better than we know your child, and you know your child's capabilities and what they're more inclined to do.
Well, the nation's pediatricians have come out with a powerful statement pushing for bringing children back to the classroom this fall. We do have that statement for you. It's right now inside this story on the IndyChannel.com. If you're heading out on the roads right now, you need to watch out for some areas of fog. Todd, what's it looking like out there?
Yeah, you know, the visibility is reduced in some areas. It's not a widespread problem. You see a lot of big numbers here, which is unlimited visibility, but where the numbers do get a little smaller and a little bit lower is over down towards the Batesville, Connorsville area, and then also just north of downtown Indianapolis. Fishers reduced a little bit. 2 miles isn't terrible, but this darker, brighter shade of white, rather, that's where the visibilities are reduced even a little bit further. And then Lafayette, only 3-mile visibility, 0.4 of a mile in Frankfort. So just keep an eye on your travels here this morning over the next hour or so. Take you on I-65, higher speeds, obviously, on the interstate, and those visibilities can fluctuate a little bit. I keep showing you this same view, and I do that on purpose here because I've been pointing out this little layer of fog that has been in northern locations, as I just showed you. It's getting smaller, though, so that means the sunshine working its magic as it's getting higher above the horizon. It's burning that fog off, so it shouldn't be an issue much longer here across the area. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s this morning, 71 in Indy, as well as Connorsville, 68 in Martinsville and Bloomington, 64 as you make your way into the Crawfordsville area. The humidity has just been very, very high the past couple days, really about as high as it gets here in central Indiana. It's still going to be a little uncomfortable here throughout the day today with these dew points in the 60s and 70s, but they have come down a little bit from where they were. They were up near 74, 75. So you will notice a little bit of improvement as far as the humidity goes, but still it's high enough that it'll make it a little uncomfortable if you're going to be out and about working out, as our high temperature today will eventually get up to near 90 degrees, and look at that noontime temperature already into the low 80s. What about rain chances? Each day so far this week, we've built in rain chances in the afternoon, and I think that happens again today. We're not going to see these clusters of storms, though. It's just going to be these pop-up showers that are going to be taking place, and the coverage today is going to be even less than it has been the past few days, with just some speckles here and there across the area. So that's good news as far as rain chances go, and they'll continue to decrease as we work our way into the holiday weekend. So for tomorrow, it's a sun-filled day from start to finish, mostly sunny skies, still a little muggy. Temperature is very similar to today, right around 90 degrees. But look at this for the holiday weekend: 92 Friday and Saturday, 93 on Sunday. Maybe a stray storm during the peak heating of the day on Saturday, but most of us should remain completely dry. About a 20% chance of some storms as we get into Sunday. I really wouldn't worry about it if you have outdoor plans. The bigger issue by far is going to be the heat that will be around. And it's not just a one-day deal. This is going to be our first foray so far this summer into an extended period of 90-degree temperatures. They probably arrive on Friday, if not today or tomorrow, and then stick around, Lauren, all the way into the middle of next week.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. This is a live look at I-465 near I-69 and Benford Boulevard on the northeast side. You can see the sunshine out there this morning, so grab the sunglasses before you head out on the roads. Everything here is traveling up to speed, so that is great news for your Wednesday.
Lauren, here's a key question for all of us. What type of mask should you be wearing during the pandemic? Coming up on Good Morning America, the new research with stunning visuals on how wearing a mask can help stop the spread of coronavirus, and how the type of mask you choose is just as critical. That story and much more right here on WRTV 6.
The RTV 6 app on your phone or streaming device.
Well, the city already has the roundabout capital of the U.S. title, and pretty soon, Raphael, they're going to have even more of them.
So we've seen roundabouts in Greenwood and in Franklin and in Whiteland, but we're talking about the city of Carmel. They already have more than 125 roundabouts. That is more than any other city in the country. And now they'll begin the work on 2 more roundabouts. Why not, right? The construction on them is set to begin on or after July the 15th, of course, weather permitting. New roundabouts will be installed at 116th Street and College Avenue and 116th Street and Guilford Road. Lane restrictions will be in place, but not full closures. Carmel, by the way, plans to add 11 roundabouts through the next year. The city says it will continue to build roundabouts due to their proven track record of reducing accidents and saving lives. And many of those roundabouts, Lauren, are just majestic and they're beautiful. Some, though, I'm going to say are a little bit confusing. But,
yeah.
you know,
we're Southsiders, so we don't have as many. It gets a little confusing up there. I get confused, but they do look nice. So.
Yeah, we still have our buggies, so we're going to
right. Oh, man.
Well, I know how to navigate them, so I'll give you guys, a few
Thank
lessons.
you, Todd.
But I agree with you, Raphael. Some of them are a little confusing when you curve off to the right, and then you have the circle. Yeah, but all right. Let's talk about the forecast. Yeah, here we go, left and right. All right, outside right now, it's a hazy start to our day. 89, the chance of a stray storm this afternoon. Into the 90s starting on Friday. Very small chances over the holiday weekend. The heat definitely the issue.
All right, Todd, thanks, and thank you for joining us. We're back here in 25 minutes and all throughout Good Morning America. We hope you have a great Wednesday.